Hello, one and all, and welcome to the podcast we call the Fantastival with myself, Steve Nussbaum. In the podcast, I invite my guests to come on and talk to me all about their musical taste, their memories, their experiences, and they get to collate their fantasy festivals, which I have christened Fantastivals. We are now in mid-November. I hope everyone is well wherever you are listening. And before we start this one, just want to say a massive thank you to Turnbull Smith from the excellent Skylights. He was my guest in the last episode in 146. That was a great laugh. He had so many great stories and utterly top man. So go and check that episode out if you haven't already done so. And if you're a new listener or an old listener, that's always appreciated. So thanks to everyone who is listening to this podcast. So like I said, that was 146. This is 147. And this week, I'm delighted to introduce one of my favourite musical finds of this year. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the one and only indie rock pop legend, Is Sam Scherdel.
You pronounced it right as well.
Hey! I was thinking that as I was saying it, I was like, I didn't actually check with Sam how to say it, so I went totally footloose and fancy free, but I feel like it's paid off, Sam.
No, mate, you are one of the fucking only people who's ever said that right first time. So, yeah, hats off. Nice one.
Love it. When you got a surname like Nussbaum, it kind of helps, I think, to look at the surname and crack on. So, Sam, I'm so looking forward to talking to you, mate. Honestly, I feel like Retro, Balloon, Brave Mistake, I've literally been listening to them so much. I feel like I already know you, so I'm really looking forward to hearing about kind of how those tracks came about and all about you musically. But like I always like to do with my guests, I think it's really important we talk about how we are from a mental health perspective. So, Sam, how are you, mate?
I'm good, yeah. Life is good. At this moment in time, life is good. It's not been in the past, but at this present moment in time, apart from what we were talking about off air previously, that I've got no fucking lights in my house at this moment in time, and I'm in Mrs. Dressing area at this present moment. Apart from that, I'm living like fucking Charles Dickens. I'm awesome.
So, Sam, let me take you back to where it all started. Let me get your earliest musical memories. So what do you remember being young and being about music?
My earliest musical memory, I'm not that fond of it, but is running around my mum's living room to Roy Orbison. Like that is literally the earliest thing I can remember. I must have been like 3 or 4 years old. So Roy Orbison, anything that you really would, that do you know what I mean? You got it, and that was like my earliest love of music. And then when I was 7, I can remember being out coming out, and that were another moment. It's a funny story. I can remember going to Woolworths in Mexborough and buying Being Out on CD when it first came out, and also for some reason buying fucking Lighthouse Family on cassette at the same time. I think my mum used to like Lighthouse Family, so I bought that. That's how fucking rock and roll I am. So I bought Being Out and Lighthouse Family high on fucking cassette. But they were my first purchases, like the first things I ever bought in physical condition, and yeah.
And then from there, Sam, what point did it really connect with you and you thought, actually, I want to really be involved in music? Was there a point for you where you thought, yeah, I want to do this?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I got to secondary school, and I can remember going to Meadow Hall in Sheffield, and this was Fox's music all the time, and there were this one guy there, and he was really enthusiastic about guitars, do you know what I mean? And I can remember this Yamaha Pacifica, this one guitar. It was expensive, do you know what I mean? It might cost fucking 99 quid now. But I can remember going in Fox's music and playing this guitar every single week. And my mum got it me for Christmas, and then I started listening to we were into new metal and all that at school, and I think it was like Limp Bizkit, Korn and all that. And I don't listen to it now, do you know what I mean? Your music tastes, they're good, aren't they? They fly, but I can remember sort of just that freedom from listening to guitars and stuff. And I was away from 12. I think we had his first gig, the first band I can remember, we were a local youth club. They were very influential in my time in getting to know music and getting to know how to record and stuff. And I can remember doing this gig, and I actually live across the road from where this first gig ever were now. I live in a little town called Cunnisborough, just outside Doncaster. And across place from where I am is a place called Earth Centre. And we did a gig there when I was 12, 13. My mum's got it on fucking video somewhere. God, we were about fucking 5 foot tall, like a little fat midget in like this big white hoodie. And yeah, we were fucking shocking, mate. We were the worst, but fucking hell. I don't know how we didn't get tomatoes thrown at us and everything. Do you know what I mean? We were so fucking bad. But you start there and then you just carry on. And yeah, for some reason it started to fall into place like 20 years later.
So from early bands, right, playing covers to, I guess, more serious solo stuff, what happens with you? Like, you stay in bands and at some point you just think, actually, I feel like solo journey is the way for me. How does that transpire?
It's funny this. I was speaking to my dad the other day and he said, I can remember seeing you in Fennyball pub, which was a pub in Mexborough, and he said, I didn't know you could fucking sing, son. I didn't know you could fucking sing. And to be fair, at the time, I couldn't sing. I was fucking terrible. I was good at guitar, but I was a shocking singer, well out of tune. And yeah, I was telling you the other day, a few people, I was in a recording session the other week. Sorry, I'm going off topic, but I was in a recording session the other week. So when did you realise you could sing? And I think, going back to the original point, I think it was like sort of 16. There's some kind of tune happened in my voice and it just gave me a bit of confidence. And I think from that point I decided that the best path would be solo, because I think I've been in bands and stuff and I'm a bit of a twat and people don't really listen to what, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't listen to what they're saying, and it just felt the natural progression to be a solo artist. And I think it was from being 16 onwards that, that's when it was. That's when I decided to be a solo artist.
You mentioned the voice. Now, I think you're blessed with a very distinctive voice. I feel like as soon as you start singing, I can go, that's Sam singing. Like, I can hear the voice straight away. It sounds like when you sing, it's quite effortless, but it surely isn't. Like, it sounds like a Springsteen-y natural sound.
Without blowing smoke up my own ass, I think it is effortless now, but I think it's took a long time for it to get to that kind of tone and things like that. I never did any kind of specific training where I thought I needed to sound like this. I've always listened to singers like Kelly Jones, Joe Cocker, Rod Stewart, Tom Waits. They have always been influences, and I think from speaking to my producer last week, he said you've kind of just trained that in your own way without even thinking about it, because it does come quite naturally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you can tell that when you're listening to your stuff, to your output.
Yeah, and it sounds like, don't get me wrong, if I don't look after my voice, it is harder to sing, but yeah, I think that's the one thing in the music that I'm kind of proud of, because it kind of sets us apart from everything else that's out there. Do you know what I mean? All the lads in band realise that as well. It's like the voice is the thing. Do you know what I mean? It's my name above door. It's that voice. And I'm not saying this blowing smoke on my ass. I'm just saying it from a USP kind of.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? That's where that's where you've got to lean on, and that's where you've got to zone in on. But and what I will say is, since I've started writing songs more seriously, I've never felt as like happy doing it either.
Yeah, and I feel
definitely
you can always tell that in someone's output.
Yeah.
So you said you never felt happier. When I was reading kind of your Spotify bio, it said you took like a 5-year hiatus from music. What kind of caused the 5-year hiatus, and then what caused you to actually go, I want another crack at this? I feel like I can do something that I wasn't doing 5 years ago. So
in like 2010, I think I had this kind of energy and this kind of desire in my body, and I think I went at it for about 5 years, but I was very naive and I think arrogant at times, and I get it a good crack from 2010 to 2015, and then my son was born, I had a family life, and then unfortunately one thing led to another, and that didn't work out, and then I kind of went off rails a bit. I'm not going to fucking dress it up, but I went off rails for a bit, and then approaching lockdown, my life was going off rails to a point where I thought, fucking hell, can't go any further. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I knew what I loved in my head. I knew what had made me happy. And I just I thought, this is the time to get a fucking proper shot. It was more that my son was getting older, even though it didn't work out, my son's older. I had to I wanted to leave a bit of a legacy behind, say that was my dad, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That were kind of where I was coming from with that. But yeah, and I started writing songs in like 2019, I think. Again, after fucking completely self-destructing. Started writing songs again. I thought, I'm fucking good at this. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, and that's... We'll probably come to the story more, but once I had that idea in my head, it just evolved and it evolved and it evolved to where we are now, kind of thing.
So even though it's a solo, and like you said, it's the name Sam Scherdel, there is a band behind it, right? And you can tell it's very well produced, and you can tell it's full stuff. So how do you go from, I guess, sitting there in your room in 2019 with just you and a guitar, thinking I need to crack on here because I'm decent and I know I've got the stuff to do it, to where you are now then with a great band behind you, some amazing singles. How did you get from that point then, Sam, to the Sam who's sitting in front of me in this honest interview?
I used to have a band called Sam Scherdel and the Fix, and we used to be all friends, and I would never fucking recommend to anyone listening to this podcast to get in a band with your friends, because it's a fucking nightmare. Just never fucking fuck your friends clean off. Never fucking get in a band with him. Just have dinner with him and don't fucking play instruments with him. I had one of my best friends, John O. It was just horrible. It was just shit. But I did that. It was Sam Scherdel and the Fix. And then I met from one of them studio sessions. This was actually, while we were kind of on hiatus, we had a studio session in 2017 at Steelworks Studios in Sheffield. I met Aidan Thompson, who was in a band called the Alvarez Kings. He's out in Nashville now. I'm seeing him next month, actually. He's one of the best people that I've ever met in my entire life. Anyway, I went from that, and Aidan was one of the springboards for me. I was recording stuff at home, and I was sending stuff to him saying, do you think this is any good? And he was going, this is fucking brilliant. This is fucking, you need to do something with this. So I was recording everything in my home in Doncaster and sending it to him remotely. And he was mixing and fucking putting all these Nashville touches on it. So Balloon that you hear, that was recorded fucking downstairs here and in Nashville, believe it or not. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the kind of remote working that we've had. And I've only recently switched producers, only because I wanted my band with me. So, I'm jumping ahead again. But so Aidan was one of the people who gave me the confidence to fucking do that. And it got to 2022 and I had to find a band. And I couldn't wish for any fucking better people in the band, to be fair. And the first two fell absolutely natural. Sam and James, bass and drums. The best fucking rhythm section anyone could ever ask for. So easygoing, and I'm not easygoing. So anyone in the band can be easygoing. But then we met Luke, who's like become kind of my right hand man kind of thing. He's kind of on a similar wavelength to me, similar age to me, similar kind of fieriness to me, and we have his moments, but he's become a really good friend. Do you know what I mean? And it's a good vibe. It's a really good vibe.
I think you can tell that as well. I think that comes across on the songs. I think you can really tell that, the vibe in the band. Yeah. So obviously you had Early Morning Rain in 2022, Don't Really Like You 2022, The Answer 2022, Brave Mistake 2022. This year we've had Balloon and Retro. Let me pick up on, as I say, Brave Mistake is one that's really just always stuck in my head. How did that one come about? Because I love that song.
Brave Mistake were written they were written kind of from an unhappy place, but I don't know, that it was kind of a sarcastic chanter, how the devil you doing, like, how are you doing, kind of thing, like, and I never thought that I'd have people singing it back to me, but it just gelled. And I said this in a lot of interviews and podcasts and stuff, but I think your best songs are your fucking simple songs, and that's just a 3-minute fucking simple song, simple lyrics, simple hooks, and it just works. It just works. But yeah, the How the Devil You Doing, it's kind of like a sarcastic chant kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a great song, and it builds and builds. It's a very well-polished song as well. And I guess, for me, Balloon is like the natural progression to that. So I remember when Balloon came out, and it was the first time I'd really heard of you. And I remember that weekend on Twitter, on the new music scene, it was everywhere. And I thought, I'm gonna give this a listen, see what like the fuss is about almost. And I think it's probably fair to say it blew me away. I remember tweeting actually and including you in my music suite, thinking this is like a great track, and I hope I get some interaction with Sam on this because I'd love to have him on. So tell us about Ballooning.
Balloon again, it was like, it's about periods of your life, and I think Balloon were a point where, I'll speak fucking candidly, I was rock bottom when I was at that, and I think I was at a point where I needed music to fucking kind of help me get out of that rock bottom. It's funny, isn't it? It's like, if you dissect the lyrics of Balloon and then you put it against the fucking backdrop of the euphoric music, it's like, it's an oxymoron, do you know what I mean? It's chalk and cheese. It's you've got happy and you've got really fucking sad. The lyrics are fucking really sad. They're really fucking downbeat, the lyrics. But I thought, if I'm going to have so fucking dross and depressing lyrics, I need to have some fucking horns sending it up there.
And they certainly do.
That was the idea behind it, definitely.
They certainly do. Retro doesn't sound like unhappy lyrics to me. Retro sounds more of an upbeat lyrics coming from a happier place, unless I'm massively mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not depressed all the time, but the retro's more from a kind of optimism point of view, and just realising that the main hope for me, I've got it tattooed on me, is somewhere there is a chance for me. It's like, no matter what happens, somewhere it will fucking take a bit of time out, it'll fall into place somewhere, somehow, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it certainly will. So I guess, Sam, what's next for you then in terms of releases? I know you've been in the studio and you've been hinting at a new single and kind of alluded to an album in 2024. What's next from a studio and a release perspective for you, Sam?
So we went down to Folkestone weekend before last, and we found the studio, we found the place that we want to fucking do the next record, and we started working with Gav Moran, and he did Retro back in April this year. Been a bit back and forth. Gav really wants to work with us, and we've got a good rapport built up with him, and he did like sort of editors, Palantini, and he's done a lot of stuff, and more importantly to me, it fits. He can tell me off and I can listen to him.
Yeah.
That's important to me. If someone can tell me off and I can give a shit about what they say, that's very important to me. And Gav's one of them people that I found that can do that way. Without sounding like a fucking complete cop.
I get where you're coming from, though. He's one of the guys who you respect enough that if he's saying this isn't right or you need to do it this way, you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I respect what he's got to say. Yeah. But it's not only that, he can tell me what to do and it gets the fucking best results from me. It really does. And I've never had that with a producer before. And we went and road tested this studio in Kent, last weekend, and it was just fucking sublime. And basically, the bottom line is we are going to be recording an album. It's probably going to take us 4 months with everyone's schedules. Like, we've all got to work. Everyone's got to do their own bit and whatnot. But I'd say by August next year, we'll have the album. And the plan is it's probably be 18 months after sort of January, February next year that you hear the album. It'll be a long process, you know what I mean? But there will be things dropping off it as we get to it.
Exciting times, really exciting times. Looking really forward to hearing the album and obviously the singles that prelude that. So not only has it been a busy time for you recording, you've done an awful lot of live dates, right, in 2023. So just a few names I've had you down as playing with. I've got you down with Reverend and the Makers, which looked like an amazing gig to be at and support him.
So that was the first time I'd ever. Bear in mind, I'm fucking 35, mate. So I've had my kid and I missed all this fucking nonsense like running, getting in bands and stuff like that. And started the project in March 2022, and then March 23, he was asking for sports for these house gigs that he does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I ended up at this house gig getting fucking plastered with fucking John and all fucking crew that were there, and then he said, I need a spot for Lebanon. I messaged him on Twitter. He says, you fucking got it. I thought, fucking hell, this is crackers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was talking to you before we started this. That's where I met Richard Hawley. And it just opened my eyes that if you fucking dig deep, things can happen.
And we were talking about Richard Hawley before we started, right? So Richard Hawley is a massive part of your life, so much that that you've got like a tribute to him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because my chest is fucking sore as fuck, so I've just had a tattoo of his lyrics on my chest. So my missus drew last night. She drew it in a eyeliner on my fucking chest. And I was texting halfway through and I went, fucking hell, I wish you were drawing it on me fucking instead of this shit.
So house parties with Reverend and the Makers. I've seen you with my good mates Revivalry doing a house party as well. I love those boys.
Mate, they are fucking insane. I fucking love them. I fucking love them. They are the nicest, most energetic, most enthusiastic kids I have ever seen and ever met and ever gigged with. I've got nothing but fucking high praise for them lads.
Yeah, they're going to go far. Great bunch of boys. I had them on the podcast a good couple of months ago. They were great fun. So Revivalry, got it down with the Assist, Pleasure Centre, Matilda Shakes, Dave Hemingways, and most recently, huge gig for you at Doncaster Dome. I believe your mum called it your best gig ever when I was watching the little video reel.
Mate, she did. But she also caused me a fucking big heart attack before that fucking gig.
Go on.
My mother. Right. So, 2 doors to the club, all lads are buzzing, everyone's there, everyone's like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? Everyone's fucking 3,000 people. My mother, she can't turn left at fucking junctions. She just can't drive. And she won't have any shame in me saying this, she just cannot fucking drive. It gets to 15 minutes before gig, and my missus is going, where's your mum? I'm going, I don't fucking know where she is. I ain't got a fucking clue where she is. She's texting me, she's going, I can't find you. We're Mum, it's fucking Donegal, it's 6 miles from your house. It's like, we're not fucking in Timbuktu, do you know what I mean? Anyway, because my mum were bringing my little lad to the gig. So, my little lad's probably the cool as a cucumber like he is. Thinks he's fucking Jack Grealish. Fucking... Anyway, it gets to... So, we've got stage manager there going, Sam, you're on. I'm going fucking nowhere. I'm going nowhere to be with my son. I flew this to this like backstage entrance. Anyway, it got the fucking last 30 seconds going, like, wait, quick ball, Sam, you're on. Anyway, she comes in and went, where the fuck are you? To walk in with 30 seconds to fucking spare. My mum's there and like she went all cool and like she'd been there sipping champagne in back down. Jesus Christ. It was the most stressful period of my entire life. I just wanted them there though, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I wanted them to be part of it.
But it seemed like a very special gig, right? Massive band to support, and it seemed like we went down really well.
They were amazing. They were one of, do you know what I mean? And I think it helped lift everyone's mood in camp that if we keep digging deep, things are going to keep happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as well as that, you've got a massive show coming up, right? When this goes out, it'll be the Friday after this goes out. So, hometown headline show, Gorilla Beer Hall, Mexborough, on the Friday, 24th of November. You must be absolutely buzzing for that one. Yeah,
but it's good to see what's happening to Mexborough for a minute. It's like they've got Imperial Club and they've got Gorilla. So, Rev, John McClure played Imperial early this year, and then Gorilla have just announced they've got Zootons on. It's like, from where I grew up, it's a good thing to be happening to that town. Do you know what I mean? I never used to be proud of that town, and I think now I'm getting older, probably because I'm fucking further away from it, that I'm getting proud of it. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But no, it's good to like look at that town and think, yeah, good things are happening to that, and we're buzzing to play that show next week. We've got a big production lined up. Do you know, when I do a show, I don't fucking just do a show. It's a proper setup. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I look forward to seeing all the videos and the photos out on social. I'm sure there's going to be loads on there. And then kind of your live activity doesn't stop. So next year already, I've just pulled out a couple supporting Chris Helme at Doncaster, the mind behind the Seahorses.
Yeah. Chris Helme is just a really nice guy, but also you just listen to the stuff they did with Seahorses, and it's like he was hooked just from being busking, weren't he? That's what happened. And you were in York, weren't he?
He was busking on the street, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you listen to him, and I've known Chris for years, like a long time, and that'll be a special one. It's going to be nice to just be stripped back with an acoustic guitar thing and just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let it happen.
Yeah, that would be great. Also note that you're playing the Adelphi as well as part of the Larkin Art Festival in April as well. That looks like a great lineup the day you're on, and the whole weekend to be fair.
It's nice to be started to be recognised outside of South Yorkshire, and my missus is from East Yorkshire, so that's fucking helps with travel.
And then in terms of people finding you on social, then Sam, let's give your socials a shout out. So, what platforms you're on? How do people find your handles, and where do people go to keep up to date with you, Sam?
Basically, mate, they just have to spell my name, but spell it right. So if we go SCHERDL or Sierra Charlie Hotel, Echo Romeo, Delta Echo Lima, they do that, it's all fucking in hand. Because there's no one else called me.
Yeah, I feel like that's not the first time you've done that. You've done it like that. All right, so Sam, without giving away too many spoilers, then music wise, what are you into, mate? What does it for you? You mentioned Oasis and the Lighthouse Family, so I can tell you're an eclectic man of eclectic taste, Sam. But what does it for you? What are you listening to, bud?
Oasis and Lighthouse Family. That's all I fucking listen to.
What combo?
Fucking Lighthouse, man. Mate, they're a good band. Fucking Ocean Drive is a right fucking tune.
Mate, I agree. If Ocean Drive comes on the radio, no one's turning that over. That's staying on. Everyone at home.
No, right. Right. I'm thinking about it now. So for me, it's the Beatles and Oasis given, but as I'm growing up, I'm falling out of love with Oasis a bit more and fucking all this fucking. Are we gonna fucking I don't give a fuck if you reunion. Do you know what I mean? Just fuck off. I like singer-songwriters. So Nick Cave, I listen to a lot of Nick Cave. Billy Joel, fucking massive influence on me. He was kind of the reason I started playing piano, to be honest with you. Richard Hawley, as we mentioned. David Bowie, massive fucking influence on me. Where do you start? Where do you stop?
Yeah, absolutely. It's too many to mention. So this podcast is all about getting our guests to collate their fantasy festival. Sam, are you a big fan of the festivals? Have you been to many festivals? You like them? I
have been to Glastonbury every year since 2004, bar 2.
Wow.
So, yeah, I fucking love them.
Is there a highlight? Is there one that you look back on and just think that was just amazing, or do you look at it all back individually?
Yes, I can tell you my fucking highlight. My highlight was 2010. England had just got fucking dumped out of World Cup with that Lampard goal. Do you remember?
Oh, Germany.
The one where the fucking goal.
Yeah.
So everyone were on. This was Sunday as well, so everyone was fucked and on downer. So this was Sunday, and then me and my mate Blinko, we walked from. They put it on in this fucking field at top of Glastonbury. I thought, fucking hell, that's it. We might as well fucking go on. Anyway, we started walking back towards Pyramid Stage. Slash were there playing Slash in Slash the Snake Pit with Miles Kennedy, fucking doing all Guns N' Roses shit. Then that perked you up as you were approaching Pyramid Stage. Got to the fucking Pyramid Stage, and then Ray Davies came on with a fucking choral fucking masterpiece, doing all King songs. I thought, well, this is fucking alright now, isn't it? This is fucking perking up. Then fucking Faithless come on, you start doing a few bits, and then fucking Stevie Wonder closes the night to a fucking big sunset. So that for me will be the best day. And I don't usually do Sundays in Glastonbury because I usually fuck off. I usually think, this is my fucking day done. Do you know what I mean? Saturday, party, fuck off home, watch restaurant on telly. But that Sunday was the best. Everyone, Mum's 50th birthday and all. It was fucking incredible. It was fucking the best day I have ever had at Glastonbury.
Wow, sounds amazing. Sounds like an amazing time to be there. Do you have a favourite gig that you've watched? Is there a favourite gig for you?
Gigs are hard. I think, as a musician, I think when you're looking for a gig, it's like, you want to just be there. Same with festivals, really. You want to be doing it. I think the favourite full gig did have to be McCartney in 2005. Was it 5? 4 or 5 at Glastonbury? No, the first year I went there, 2004. But again, I have all these stories about all these live bands. Most of them have been at Glastonbury. So
Glasgow's your place.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, wicked. All right, so that was a bit about Sam's festival experience. Now, Sam is the lucky man. He gets to collate his fantasy festival. So Sam gets to choose any 5 acts, one of who must play one of their studio albums in full. And Sam also gets to choose an encore, which all 5 of his acts can perform together at the end of his fantasy festival. So it's very easy. 5 acts take 5 time slots. So like I said in the start of the episode, in the last podcast, I had Turns On from Skylights. He collated his big fun fantasy festival. He had Ash opening up for him. Great shout of Ash. First time they've ever been picked for a fantasy festival. Super seconds, he had a Little Man Tate. Midway Madness, he had The Enemy. Pre-headline act, he had The Verve. And as his headliners, he had Oasis. And with his encore being The Master Plan, because that was the very first song at his wedding. So for any first-time listeners, that's how simple this concept is. But Sam, before we talk about your fantasy festival or your acts, we need to give your festival a name and a venue. So, Mr. Scherdel, what are you going to call your fantasy festival?
I'll name it after my son, Milesbury. He's called Miles, so Milesbury.
Oh, I like it. Lovely stuff. And you can take Milesbury anywhere. You can take us to the Lead Mill. You can take us to Doncaster Dome. We can get out of Donny and Yorkshire. We can go wherever you like. England, US, Australia, wherever you want to take us, Sam, we'll follow. Big or small. So where do you want to hold your fantasy festival, Sam?
Somewhere warm. Do it in fucking Thailand or something.
All right.
Why not? Fucking hell, we can do it anyway. It might as well be fucking warm. Do you know what I mean?
All right. We're going to Thailand. We've never been to Thailand, I think, in this podcast. So we're going to go to Thailand. We're going to have a great time. So we've got Milesbury. We're going to Thailand. So you can only talk or take with us 5 acts. Are there any acts who you want to quickly mention who you love but aren't going to be part of your 5?
No.
Well, that was nice and easy. All right,
What's
Sam.
fucking point? If you don't love them, fucking don't mention them.
All right, so there can only be 5, like we said. Your first act gets to play from 2 to 3 o'clock in Milesbury. So, Sam, who's you going to have open your fantasy festival?
I've got to pick someone from, like, who really influenced. One of the first gigs I ever went to were the Vines at Manchester Apollo. And Craig Nichols, he suffered from mental health problems, but fucking hell, it really benefited his stage fucking show. And I can remember seeing me and some mates when we were like 15, 16 from Expert. It's all the Vines. Got to have them on. And just to put my arm around him, how you doing, Craig? Do you know what I mean? Are you all right? And I'm sure he wouldn't give a fuck who I am, but...
I remember when they first came out, they were like all over Enemy, right? They were like everywhere. Yeah. That first album was massive, and the second one I thought was really good. The second album, but didn't seem to do like anything really. But I remember like Get Free and like from the first.
They
album.
Get the crowd going, and everyone would go, "Why are all instruments smashed up?" And it'd be good. It'd be a good setup.
That'd be a great setup. Great shout. All right, the first time the Vines have ever been picked for Fantasy Festival. So a new name on our roster after 147 episodes. Craig and the boys are coming. They're playing from 2 till 3. Going to have a great time. That'll take us to 2:30, Sam, in time for your super second. So who are you going to have follow the Vines?
Billy Joel.
Right, okay. So my wife, who doesn't listen anyway, she loves Billy Joel. Billy Joel's a big player in our house. And believe it or not, this is crazy to me. This is the first time Billy Joel's ever been chosen for a fantasy festival. So you're breaking new boundaries.
Mate, Billy Joel is one of the finest songwriters that's ever... Like, everyone pits like Elton John against Billy Joel. I get Elton John's a fantastic writer, musically and whatnot, but Billy Joel, if you go back to them songs, mate, he were a fucking fire in songs, and he's just a good fucking writer. He'll always be a good writer. The reason that I started trying to pretend that I can play piano, because I can't fucking play it, but I can pretend that I can play it, because the tricks I learned off what he does. But he's so... Oh, he's just a different gravy, mate. He's a different gravy.
He's fantastic. He only gets an hour, though, so let me ask you quickly, Sam. Anything within an hour that you have to hear him do? Because an hour in his world is like 2 minutes, right? So any songs that you have to have him play within that hour?
He has to play New York State of Mind.
Amazing. That would be great to hear him do that in New York. Like, I've seen him do it in London.
But not in Thailand.
But not in Thailand. All right, Billy Joel's making his first appearance at a fantasy festival. He's going to play from 3:30 till 4:30. We're going to take a half-hour break. Time for your Midway Madness slot. So, 2 amazing acts up first. Who's going to be your Midway Madness act, Sam?
Fucking hell. Now we're fucking... I've got to do it in order it comes in my head, but I'll have to say Bowie. I'm sure he's come up before.
Yeah, Bowie is one of the top people selected. So I'll ask you what I always ask about Bowie. Go on.
But I want him to play his last album.
Oh, Black Star?
Yeah.
All right, okay, he can do that. Why Black Star? Because obviously he's got so much out there. Why would you go with Black Star?
I just think that fucking album was like a massive fuck you to life, and everybody were like, I'm doing this, and I'm going to sign off with more respect than anyone's ever signed off with before. And I just think that artistic stamp that he left were something no one's got that integrity to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was unreal. He kind of announced it, released it, and then before you knew it, he
And
passed
fucking
away.
died.
Yeah, it was like crazy, really, the way it all kind of happened. Really, like looking back on it.
And I just think it was so like respectful of his character, and because you could tell he was a decent bloke. You could just fucking look at him and know he's somebody you want to go for a pint with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
he's a good man. And yeah, I've got no shame in saying it. He is the only person that's died in the music world where I have shed a tear over it, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Great shout. Yeah, David Bowie, 17th time he's been picked for Fantasy Festival, one of the leading acts who have been picked on here. So Bowie's going to play from 5 till 6. He's going to play Black Star, the album. So 3 acts down, 2 acts left. Your pre-headline act gets to play from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. So Sam, who's going to be your pre-headline act?
Paolo Nutini.
Oh, great shout. I think you mentioned Paolo Nutini slightly earlier. So what does Paolo Nutini do for you? Why is he going to be a pre-headline act?
I like that Paolo had to go down a commercial route to start with, and his second album, Sunny Side Up, but his big fucking fingers up that I'm going to do exactly as I want to do it. I want to fucking write it exactly how I want to write it. And it turned out to be better than fucking anything that the commercial people could ever fucking pigeonhole him to do. And I just think that from then he's gone from strength to strength. He's just a fucking phenomenal writer, phenomenal singer, phenomenal fucking getting lost in words. He's just phenomenal. Just a good lyricist, just fucking incredible.
Yeah, and the voice is unreal, right? His voice is like different level.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, all right. Great shout. Paolo Nutini is your pre-headline act. Going to play from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Only the second time Paolo's been picked. So, been picked before, but only the one. So, he's going to come back for his second Fantasy Festival appearance. We're going to take one more break. Then it's time for your headliner, Sam, who's going to play from 8:30 to 11 o'clock and is going to follow Paolo on your stage. So, Sam, I'm not sure who it's going to be, actually. I'm not sure where you're going to take us. So, who's going to be your headline act? Pulp. Pulp. All right, Pulp. Why is Mr. Cockerdin leading out the band as your headline act?
I have watched Pulp. I've had the pleasure of watching Pulp twice, and just the fucking realism, just the stage presence, just the fucking songs, the feeling, the lyrics, just everything about it. It's real. It's South Yorkshire. It's fucking incredible. It blinds a lot.
Great stuff. Right, so Pulp, first time they've ever been picked for a Fantasy Festival. So 3 of your 5 acts are making their Fantastival debuts, which is fantastic. And at 11 o'clock, Jarvis and the band are bringing back on stage Paolo Nutini, David Bowie, Billy Joel and the Vines. You've got a very eclectic mix there of people on your stage. Sam, if you want to get on, you can jump on, mate. We'll make sure your mum's there. We'll make sure there's no left turns in Thailand, right? We'll make sure it's a very specific motorway that has no left, only right turns, right, to get there. That's got to be a specification, right? So your mum's there, Miles is there, you and the band are on stage as well, and you all get to play. You all get to play one song to close your Fantasy Festival. It can be any song by any act ever. What song you want to go out with and play with your Fantasy Festival?
The Streets Are Ours by Richard Hawley.
Ah, great shout. So Richard Hawley is getting into your Fantasy Festival somewhere.
Of course he is. He's on my fucking chest now.
Is that the song that's on your? Is that the actual song that's on your chest? Is it?
No. It's to open up your door. I've had like tattooed in a little love shape. I'm not a fucking Richard. If you're listening to this, I'm not going to come and fucking stalk your house or all like that.
Yeah, don't worry, Richard. It's all love on this podcast. All right, let's lock it in for your Fantasy Festival. Then we've got Malmesbury. We're just going to Thailand, but we'll do it off a field where there's only right turns, and obviously we know why. We've got the Vines opening up. We've got Billy Joel Super Seconds, David Bowie playing Black Star Midway Madness, Paolo Nutini pre-headline act, Pulp headlining, And for your encore, they're all going to play the streets at ours, and then you can come out and play with them as well to close your fantasy festival. Sam, sounds amazing to me, mate. I'm there. I bought my air ticket. I'm ready to go, mate. You happy with that?
It's a bit of a bad in it, but I think it'll work.
I love it. Brilliant. All right, that's locked in. All right, so Sam, before we finish like we said, there's lots going on in the world of Sam Scherdel currently and for the rest of 2023 and 2024. Let's give a rundown again. Anything you want to plug, gigs, releases, anything. The floor is yours, Sam. Go for it. Let's hear it.
So, obviously, the Gorilla gig on Friday in Mexborough, Gorilla Beer Hall. Then we're supporting the Alvarez Kings, who is Aidan, our producer's band, who's coming from Nashville. You need to get down to that Chantry Brewery, which is 21st of December. And then it's watch this space, really, for 2024. And we'll be announcing stuff very soon. But thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure. All right, let's shout out the socials again. So, Sam Scherdel, if you don't follow him on your platforms, make sure to do. Sam, I take it's Twitter, Insta, Facebook?
Just spell it as it is. Sam, Scherdel. That's it.
All right, Sam Scherdel. Go and find him and go and check out his stuff. You will not regret it. So that is it, everyone. Thanks for listening to the 147th episode of the Fantastival Podcast. If you've enjoyed this one, please subscribe. Give the podcast a review. You can review it on iTunes. You can also rate the show on Spotify. You can also comment on all individual episodes. So if you listen to this one on Spotify, go and put a little comment against the episode. Always makes me smile and is great for the algorithms. Sam is on Twitter, so is the podcast. So give us a follow at FantastivalP, and you can give us an email if you want to contact the podcast at fantastivalpodcast@outlook.com. Unfortunately, on this podcast, we don't play music, but I'll get some tracks from Sam. We'll make a nice little Spotify playlist of all the acts that he's mentioned in his fantasy festival. So if you scroll down in the episode description, you'll find the playlist right there. So Sam, you've been one of my targets to get on the podcast. I'm delighted to have you. It's great to meet you. You've been a great guest. How have you found being on the podcast and I guess collating your fantasy festival?
I've absolutely loved it, mate. It's been great. I like being probed for obscure acts that I've seen, so...
Wicked, mate. I wish you all the best for the future. I'm looking forward to seeing more live videos, more clips. Hopefully get to see you when you're back in London. I'm aware that I missed you a couple of weeks ago and I'm gutted because I know the Spice of Life, mate. My band played there in like 20.
Just let us know, mate, when you want to come and just fucking drop me a message.
Mate,
it's all cool.
Absolutely. It's like I said, best luck for the future, bud. So I'll be back next week with episode number 148. So please make sure to join me for that one. But until then, stay safe, my Fantastival friends. Please continue to spread the word. And that word is Fantastival. Thanks for listening.